So we're back with episode 26, and it's arguably the best sporting week of the year. The Masters is back. A few talking points. One, obviously Rory McIlroy, can he do it? Scottie Scheffler's defence, and maybe touching on the live players as well, considering a few of them have been going all right and they've been mentioned. So to start though, with no further ado, starting with Rory, it's now a tradition, the talk of can he complete the inevitable, hopefully, career Grand Slam. What are your thoughts?
I think, chatting about this to a pal of mine last night, I think there's definitely a difference in Rory this year in the sense that he seems to be a lot better mentally, and he just seems to putt a lot better. Just not even statistically, but the putter looks better in his hands, just as a player looking at another player. But like we were also chatting about, Jesus, imagine how Lee Westwood feels after his career of being such a top player, never winning a major. Like Rory must feel that, knocking on the door of the Masters winning club, let's say, because he stands out now by a huge gap as the best player never to win the Masters. And it must, like, he must put his head on the pillow at night and go, Jesus Christ, my game is so suited to that place, like, you know, it's so suited. So yeah, like, I think looking at the weather, see, when people look at the Masters, they always predict a player flat, calm, soft greens, you know, like, oh, this player is suited, and then all of a sudden you'll get a Zach Johnson year where it's firm, blows a gale, and the best wedger who didn't take on any par 5 and 2 wins the tournament, you know. So I don't think it's going to be like that this year. Just looking at even the ladies tournament last week looked a little bit soft on the greens, and the weather next week doesn't look. Now obviously the guys in Augusta can do what they want with the course, but having said that, they can also probably set it up to probably get the winner they want, which they've definitely done over the years. There's no doubt about that. When Tiger was in his prime, it was set up for Tiger, 100%.
Really?
Well,
in terms of pin positions, in terms of
conspiracy theory. I know they'll have their Sunday pins, but I think, you know, just kind of what wouldn't have suited Tiger, let's say maybe very fast and firm potentially. So you can slow it down and speed it up depending on how you set up any golf course. Now obviously the weather plays a big part in that, but I think this year it seems to be a little bit of rain on Friday and fairly moderate winds. So, you know, that should kind of suit the Schefflers and the Rorys, and I think the whole world, plus the Augusta Green Jacket Brigade, probably want to see a showdown with those two. So that's probably what we'll get.
So it'll be hugely competitive, but touching on Brandel Chambly, I was listening to him during the week, and he was talking about how Rory annually underperforms at Augusta in terms of greens regulation, everything that goes with that. So is it purely, do you think, down to psychological aspect that Rory can't get over the line?
Yeah, like, again, Chambly's, you know, his stats there, like Rory said, I think he said like 10 top 10s in the space of 10 or 12 years. He's missed a few cuts, but
21 top 10s in majors.
Yeah, but like his Masters career is actually very good, comparable to, let's say, everybody else. Yet he hasn't won, but I think everyone kind of needles him a bit because he's so good. So it's easy to figure out where he's kind of been short in smaller areas. But yeah, look, I just think he's ready. I think he's ready. Again, you know, sometimes Rory will do things that makes him look very ordinary, but it's because he's operating at such a high level all of the time. And now you have a guy in Scottie Scheffler who probably doesn't, it's not about fearing anybody, but probably would love a kind of a head-to-head with Rory and vice versa. Sure, it's what everyone, as I said, it's what everyone wants to see, but even like best, really good players are guys who are, he's gone now, he's had a slump. Like I heard people there. Now I've heard two things that I disagree with slightly. Scottie Scheffler is, you know, the equivalent of what Tiger was back in the 2000-2002 era. Like, no, I don't see that, right? No, it's just, what he's done is unbelievably impressive. And then, oh, that's his purple patch, he's losing form, he's done. I don't agree with that either, which was evident last week in the tournament in Texas, right? So, yeah, like they're both showing form. They have been for a long time. Statistically, more often than not, I think the Masters winner would have won earlier in the year as well. So yeah, like all roads are kind of pointing to McIlroy, Scheffler. Now, again, Augusta is the type, people also forget it's a really small field, so it's not that difficult to pick out, let's say, if we said, oh, we'll pick out 10 guys, they'll probably be in the top 20. That's not a hard enough task, because you'll have your Cantlays, Schefflers, your Schauffele, Scheffler. You know, a lot of talk about Bryson coming. He did well in the Live event in Miami last week. Probably should have won. But, you know, he's won his majors. He's kind of a happy camper. I think people have settled with him. They're behind him. So he would relish that. And again, he's got a game that is very suited to Augusta. So,
can you get into that with Rory as well, with their game suiting Augusta? Because history shows that if you're in the top 10 on day one, the winner comes from the top 10 on day one.
Yeah.
Top 5 in day 2 and so on. So what is it about Rory and Bryson's game that suits the course?
I think it's, you know, again, like there's countries, there's countries to everything, like, but if the greens are anyway kind of medium or soft, it's going to be suiting long distance high ball flights, you know, good putters. But then there's a contrarian view there as well. You can say, oh, Augusta always produces good putters, but Garcia has won, Bubba Watson has won there. You know, like even I saw there at the weekend, Cabrera, having spent 2 years in jail, wins in the Champions Tour and is playing Augusta this week. Like that'll be interesting. Like he would be a good bet now for a match bet or some sort of bet, because he's coming off a high and he's obviously just out of jail. Like, so you're going to be in good form going to Augusta, you know. So
that'll make for some good TV, no doubt.
Yeah, big time.
So what'll be a realistic placing for the likes of Cabrera or even Bernard Langer?
Yeah, Langer's another interesting one. He always does okay there. I think Langer's probably done. That might be a bit cold, but could Cabrera get a top 20? Probably. Yeah, he could. He definitely could. Hits it long enough. And you know, the Champions Tour is not that's not to be overlooked as an award. Like he's done really well there, so I think that'd be an interesting one.
Last thing on Rory, with his swing changes over the last few weeks, they've been documented from both his driving and his wedge play. Have you noticed anything just in general play about? Was there any obvious training from
He'll always speak about getting the club in a position he likes in his takeaway, and then everything kind of falls into place, because he doesn't like when the club kind of gets lost at the top of his swing. And that too will complement his wedge game. So like there's always been, again, easy to plug holes in a guy that's so good, like if he's not top of the stats on certain areas of his game. But yeah, like look, he doesn't actually have to putt really well if his iron play, or sorry, his approach play and his driving are good in Augusta. So obviously if he does put well on top of it, he could win it by 5, 8, 10 shots, like, you know. But is that likely? Not sure. The one thing about Rory in Augusta that I haven't seen is, you know, a 66 in round 1 and then hammer down from there, like, you know. It's always been kind of right, steady, and then something happens at the weekend. But I think if he could do either or both together, he'd be in business.
Nice. It's interesting with the bookies leading things in terms of the outside bets. The likes of Joe Neiman coming in, or Joaquin Neiman, who was his highest place was 16th in the Masters in a major, yet he's been talked about highly. Why would you say this is?
Well, again, there's another debate going on. How competitive are the guys on Live, competing on Live? So are they actually, let's say, PGA Tour sharp or major sharp? Now there are exceptions. Let's say Brooks Koepka is an exception. You know, in the back of their minds, are they regretting going to Live? There's all cracks and rumours there. But back to Joaquin Neiman, there's a lot of talk there because he's playing so well on Live. Can he just come to Augusta and blow it apart? Maybe. When you look at other players, like even Mark Leishman there that won at the weekend, Patrick Reed, like even John Ram, like they haven't seemed to be the same type of competitors since they've gone to Live. And the argument supports, well, how could they? Because they're only playing 3 rounds and it's all a bit of crack. Mightn't be as disciplined. They've got a boatload of money. Are they as motivated? Some of them are, some of them aren't, definitely. Which is a shame, because there were some really good players on nice trajectories, like so. But going from there to the Masters, I don't see it for Joaquin Neiman, for that player. Now he might do okay, but I don't think he'll win.
Okay. Nice. Someone who was mentioned during the week as well is Matt Fitzpatrick, who hasn't quite done it since his major win, and he's not even making cuts at the moment. Have you ever been in a position over your career where you got into a rut, just like so, and how hard was it to get out of it?
Yeah, you can. Sure, it only takes a feel like on the range to go, Jesus, that's different, and you just go with it, and then you get a bit of confidence, and it happens. You know what I mean? So that's why golf is funny. You can't really write off players, especially at that level, because they're all so good. But you know, there are forms and there are slumps, etc. But yeah, guys can actually find something. There's loads of examples of that they just came out of nowhere, like 10 missed cuts, bang, a win. Yeah. And then they mightn't be off in that type of winning way, but you know, they have got a win out of nothing really. So yeah, look, if Fitzpatrick,
such as Hovland,
I still don't think Fitzpatrick wins the Masters, by the way.
But just like you're saying there with Victor Hovland coming in from nowhere and winning.
It was a good example, yeah. That was a good example. I think like last year, Ludwig Åberg, Colin Morikawa, they were both in the mix until they put in the water on 11. You know, the one we chatted about this on this podcast, Åberg's attitude was unbelievable from 12 in. You know what I mean? Still, even though he knew he probably blew it. So like he'd be a player now that would, in my head, be definitely one. Again, suits it. He's done well last year that was his first try, I'd say. So yeah, like if he challenged, I wouldn't be surprised. Like he'd be one of the players now you could probably put your house on, would be in the top 20, you know.
Nice, yeah, okay.
You know, and again, like I don't know about this TGL stuff, but you know, they all seem to be enjoying that, and like one guy catches my eye when I watch that is Morikawa, but like again, he has shown a little bit of form, did well there last year. Is he going to win? I don't think so, but probably will be thereabouts, you know.
Yeah, you mentioned attitude there with Åberg, and I saw an interview recently with him, and he was after putting the ball in the water in Masters, but the question was when was the best shot, one of his best shots he's ever hit, and it came in like the 12th to 13th at the Masters after he put that in the water. So it's I suppose a testament to his attitude. And building off that, Min Woo Lee is a guy who obviously has a striking attitude as well, but he's been in obviously with his win a couple of weeks ago. Bo Martin came into things a lot with his guidance on the course.
Yeah, like I watched that, and yeah, like Bo was he was pivotal in that win, because you could see Minwoo was trying hard. Mistake on the par 5, not a typically difficult golf course, but like, you know, it was a good example of a guy being front and center with his player. Like he didn't go quiet, you know what I mean? Lots of caddies have gone quiet and let the player's head fall off. Like, I mean, that's happened so many times. You could at Augusta, you could like there's so many examples of that. So yeah, it's important. And again, even in some of the full, like I think season 3 in full swing was superb, because they really focused on caddies an awful lot, and you can see how some guys have their strategy to prepare, and how the systems the players and caddies have, what can be said, what cannot be said, or how open a player is for a caddy to pull up the handbrake at a certain time, like, you know. So I think the more that we see, the more we learn about professional golf and how it's done, or how it should be done. But yeah, it's crucial. Again, you know, there's the thing about Augusta, there's a lot of experience. People know where the pins are going to be. They know what the way the course is going to be set up, what they've done there over the years. I mean, surely that stands to you. I suppose it's no coincidence that people coming into the field for the first or second time seek out guys who have played multiple Masters in practice rounds and play with them. So, yeah, I think the winner, for me, I really do think it's going to be a Rory and Scheffler type of gig. Yeah, I do. I think
coming down the stretch on Sunday. Is that what you want to see as well?
I'd love it, yeah. Sure, it would be brilliant, you know. It would be great, and see Rory win it then.
One fella who we probably should touch on is Shane Lowry, because I know you're a massive advocate of him, and you think he has what it takes to win there as well.
Yeah, I do. Like, again, if I saw that Shane won on Sunday, you'd be saying, yeah, sure, of course he did. You know, he's, again, has done well there, has won a major, has suited to that place, really good pitcher putter, and very solid, you know. So again, it seems to come down to if you make a really good start, like if you shot 4 or 5 under in round 1, you know, you could see another type of performance like Port Rush where he just got into in front and kind of stayed there and kind of managed himself. Again, Bo was part of that, but he doesn't have Bo. He's a different caddy now, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
Brilliant. Looking forward to it. Enjoy the week.